First off, I don't know if you see it, but 100 subscribers, and it was on yesterday of all days, which was my birthday. I want to say thank you guys again for making a great birthday. Whether I would have got it or not, I just appreciate anyone who's been on here watching. But this has been a pretty strong year. It hasn't even been a full year on this channel. We started back in March. I appreciate it. Just a quick little rundown about who I am. I'm just some guy who has always loved weather, especially thunderstorms, severe weather. And I've always been interested. I've been doing this stuff even before I had a YouTube channel. But then once I saw somebody like Ryan Hall doing it and being successful, I figured, you know what? Why not? So here we are, and we're already 100 subs in, which I'm grateful for. Hopefully, we can keep growing from here. But as much as I'm happy about this video, of course, is not about me. We have an oncoming tropical storm, potentially a hurricane today, so that's what we're going to be getting into here. In fact, I can actually hear the wind starting to pick up where I am. I'm a Georgia boy, by the way, so I'm not expecting anything crazy, but you never know. That being said, let's go ahead and look at the situation we have unfolding here. So we're gonna start with the fact that we have now 3 slight risk days, and all of them are actually led by the tornado threat that's associated with Nicole here. So if we look at day 1, our slight risk starts out at eastern Florida. We have Orlando and Melbourne and areas to the eastern Florida coast involved in this slight risk, which is of course led by the tornado threat of the 5% here in the brown and the 2% in the green. Other areas that are involved in the tornado threat include Port St. Lucie, West Palm Beach, and Deltona even, and Daytona Beach. Orlando, you're not out of it either. We have West Palm Beach involved, Coral Springs, Lakeland, Pompano Beach. So basically what's going to be happening as the storm draws closer to making landfall, we're going to have these little embedded supercells within these feeder bands that come in, especially towards the north side here. And when you have that interaction with land, there's a little bit of wind shear that starts to develop, and these little helicities will pop up, and that's basically a tornado juice, as Ryan Hall calls it. And what ends up happening here is these storms will tap into that, and they'll start to rotate briefly, and you'll get these little quick spin up tornadoes. And in this kind of environment that we have here, there's seems to be plenty of it, especially as we get later into today. So definitely watch out if you're in this area, even if you're in the marginal area. Can't rule out a tornado. I'm even going to go as far as to say watch out Jacksonville, especially into the overnight, because these aren't going to be your typical thunderstorms that fade out throughout the day. These are going to be fueled by tropical waters, and you know how tropical thunderstorms can be over in this region. So I don't need to go into detail with that. Let's go to day 2. We talked about our severe weather threat, which if any, over here towards the central plains, which if anything is starting to decrease in, I'm starting to see a decrease here. Like this area here has gotten smaller. The intensity doesn't look so good. I kind of been saying for a while that this system doesn't really strike me as the type that would be a major severe weather event at all. It's very cold based. It's very fast moving, and you want something more zonal for this. So we're not super worried about this. We may talk about it in a video tonight. But here's our day 2 risk for the areas that are affected by Nicole. Of course, we're moving a little bit more to the north and east now. So now we got Jacksonville and that slight risk, Savannah as well, Charleston, and then we have a few other areas as well. And then we even have that marginal risk stretching a little bit further into North Carolina. Now we have Wilmington involved. We have We're a little bit further inland into Georgia. Brunswick, you're in there as well. Then I'm not super familiar with areas in Charleston, but anywhere just north and west of Charleston, we're looking at you guys too for a slight risk for severe weather. This is also, of course, led by a tornado threat. There's no real wind and hail threat. It's all going to be associated with that western storm, that storm that's off in the plains here. Go to day 3, and our slight risk is actually moving a little further north. So Charleston, you'll still be in that. We're all the way up the Carolina coast now. We're including Cape Hatteras in it now as well. Charlotte, we even have you in it. Columbia, South Carolina, you're in there as well. So we'll have to watch you guys and see how things progress with that. And that's really all we got with the severe weather threat here. Let's actually take a look at what Nicole looks like right now. Here's Nicole just off the Bahamas right now. We'll run her in motion a bit. The storm's getting a little bit more organized, but I do see an area where it could be running into some shear on the northwest side here. This is at a spot where it's more likely to run into shear, I would say. So this isn't the most surprising thing in the world. And then there's maybe a little bit of dryer feeding into it from the south. This could slow the storm down. I still expect it to strengthen a hurricane, but I don't expect it to strengthen too much further beyond a minimal category 1, I would say. And then, of course, the interesting thing about looking at the infrared is you can see the other storm system that's coming in here, too. It's one thing about looking at satellites. Always interesting to see all the moving parts that happen around the country when we look at our storm systems here. Look at the counterclockwise flow here. And you can even see some activity going over here. I think it's most likely going to be a snow event over here. Anyway, let's go ahead and map out these impacts from Nicole real quick. We'll start out with the watches and warnings. There's some new tropical storm warnings, as well as a few storm surge warnings. Storm surge with this storm, given the fact that it's not as intense as some other storms we've dealt with this year, it's going to be relatively minimal. But you can see here, most of the eastern Florida coast is going to be in a hurricane warning as we're starting to reach hurricane status. That wind field will start to pop up here. But look how big this tropical storm wind field is. This could be about maybe 150 miles away from the center. So even if you're outside of this cone of uncertainty, best believe you're going to be feeling these winds. So we also have some tropical storm warnings on the west side of Florida here. And these tropical storm warnings are now starting to creep up the Georgia coast and now South Carolina as well. So we'll have to watch you guys. So you guys will have probably about 24 hours before tropical storm conditions will begin to be felt in your areas. We'll start now by looking at the probably arrival time of winds. And really, within the next couple of hours, towards the eastern coast of Florida is when we'll start to feel those tropical storm force winds. And to clarify, tropical storm force winds are a burst of wind or a sustained wind that is felt for at least 1 minute that's above 39 miles an hour. So that's what we're going to be expecting within the next couple hours here towards Orlando, Miami, and Melbourne. Then at 2 o'clock, this will start to reach central Florida. By 8 o'clock, the entire state will be dealing with tropical storm force winds. Come tomorrow, the South Georgia, the Georgia coastline will be dealing with tropical storm force winds by 2 a.m. By the early morning, I would say a little bit more towards central Georgia. And then almost all of Georgia will be dealing with tropical storm force winds by 8 p.m. on Thursday. Friday, this will be a little bit further inland. South Carolina is going to be dealing with the brunt of it. But this wind field is also going to shrink as these storms weaken here. So there's not really too much going on after Friday here. I do think the wind field's going to decrease and maybe the storm will speed up as well. Let's go ahead and look at the storm surge threat, and up to about 5 feet storm surge is possible, but nothing too crazy here. Towards the Big Bend, we're looking at potentially 5 feet of storm surge, and then of course towards the eastern half of Florida, we're looking at about 5 feet. So North Palm Beach, look out. Hallandale, Altamaha, I think that's how I pronounce it. Altamaha Sound. We could potentially see up to 5 feet, all the way up even towards the South Sancy River. So just a heads up for you guys there. It's not going to be the worst thing I've seen. We definitely saw worse with Ian, but definitely be prepared because this still can cause some problems in its own right. So there's of course going to be heavy rainfall potential and flooding alongside the severe weather threat. For the most part, we're not going to get a whole lot of rain out of this. Like I said, this is a very oddly shaped system that never really was able to get its act together, but you still could get 2 to 4 inches in a lot of areas around here. This is a very widespread rain event. Maybe the biggest winners might be between Orlando and Miami. You could get about 4 to 6 inches possibly. And maybe towards Appalachian, we could get a quick little burst where we could get 4 to 6 inches of rain here. We'll just have to see what this storm does from that point. But I'm not expecting a whole lot out of it right now. Let's go ahead and look at the flash flooding potential. And this is where things get a little bit more interesting because, of course, we do have slight risk over these areas here. And it makes sense because tropical rainstorms are often often have some of the heaviest downpours you will ever see. I've been under tropical air masses before, and man, I tell you, when it comes down in a hurry. Oh, it's my alarm. Sorry about that. But anyway, flash flooding threat on day one. We're definitely going to be looking towards. We're going to be looking more towards Florida, and then this will expand up into southern and even south central Georgia. We're starting to look into areas like Charleston as well. Augusta, I'm not going to just include you in the slight risk. And mainly it's going to be the slight risk areas that we talk about here because a marginal risk, of course, it's a relatively minimal chance of flash flooding. But interestingly enough, the flood threat starts to increase as we get further north because of that cold front that's going to be coming in with that storm system that's going to hit the plains. And this will increase the amount of moisture that's available over these areas. Thus, the flood threat will increase over the Appalachians and then into the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast regions. So areas like Roanoke, Elkins, West Virginia, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Syracuse, where I'm watching you guys real close for an increased threat of flash flooding. So that's it for you guys. With that alarm, I know I need to get ready for work soon, but I thought I would try to go over the bases here because I know we're getting close to landfall. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of the video. Definitely let me know where your area is if you're concerned about any sort of potential impacts. And yeah, that's really it. If you like the video, of course, drop a like. Share the video, especially to people that could be in an area at risk. And subscribe if you haven't already. Again, I want to say thank you for the 100 subs. I'm trying to figure out something special I could do for you guys there. But enough rambling, I gotta get up out of here. This has been Tyler Metalhead Weatherman. I'll see you guys probably tonight. See you then. Have a good day.